Welcome, guys, to another video by Literary Pharaoh. Guys, I wanted to give my my take on this DeShaun Watson, these new allegations that are being levied against him, and you might end up calling me a conspiracy theorist after I'm done with this. Some of you guys may think that I have a tinfoil hat on, that I'm a nut job and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna give my spin on what I think is going on with this DeShaun Watson thing. And there's so many layers to this, so many angles that we can come at, and I'm gonna do my best to try to stay in an order of sequence that actually makes sense to my audience, that will also allow you guys to comprehend exactly what I'm trying to get at. Okay, now, we understand that DeShaun Watson started off his career with the Houston Texans, okay? We know that. Great performances, good quarterback at Houston, but something happened. Something happened along the way. Whenever and anyone on listening to this, you guys can leave comments if I missed out on anything, because I'm not alleging that I know all the facts, but I'm going off of what I've been hearing and what the news has been relaying to the masses. There came a point where, when DeShaun Watson was with Houston, when they began, talking about his contract, whether he would, get an extension, get paid more, and DeShaun was asking for a nice amount. He and his agent. Conveniently around that time, all of a sudden, DeShaun Watson starts to kind of echo the sentiments that, hey, I want out. I'll consider other teams. I'm a free agent, or I'm getting close to a free agent. My rookie deal is up. I want to get paid, and so talks around his money and his contract was the start of all this. And I'm looking at the timing of how everything unfolded. Around that time, it's time to pay DeShaun, and DeShaun wanted to get paid, as all athletes do. Very rare are athletes just willing to accept what the owners are going to give them. Usually, players are trying to get the max deal, especially if they feel that they've earned it, especially if their play on the field warrants it, especially if they are the face of a franchise. And most of the times, quarterbacks are the face of the franchise. So around that time, all of a sudden, allegations starts to come out about DeShaun Watson sexually assaulting women. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. Dozens of women were coming out of the woodworks. Now, I don't know the specifics about the dates of when these things happened. Usually, when people get assaulted, whether it's sexual assault or physical assault, there's immediate feedback. There's an immediate response to what happened. If someone gets robbed, they usually call the police. Police report is done. There might be an investigation that goes on after that, and usually there's a quick response. So when a person gets sexually assaulted, and I know there are many reasons as to why people don't come out immediately and why some people wait, but I always feel I'm operating on logic here. I'm removing emotion, because a lot of people like to throw emotions into everything, and it kind of convolutes the logical pathways of actually reasoning. If somebody violates me in any kind of way, I'm going to want to report it, right? Immediately. My thing is, why around the DeShaun Watson thing? And this video is not about whether he did it or not. It's clear that he did something allegedly to those women, okay? But my question is, why did it take so long for these women to come out? Now, I'm not a psychologist. I don't claim to be one. I know there are many reasons as to why people don't immediately report something. But I find around the time that DeShaun Watson was threatening to hold out, wanted to have more money, all of a sudden these allegations start to come out. Now, I'm not saying that there was a conspiracy against DeShaun, but I find it very, very suspicious. There's a high degree of skepticism that goes into my head when I see that all of a sudden, back to back to back to back, all these women are coming out at once. There's money involved in this as well. These women that are coming out with these allegations, they're not coming out with these allegations because, number one, the women's identities and the women's names are being concealed, so they're not being publicized. The only person that's publicized is DeShaun Watson. We don't know who these women are because they're protecting these women's images, and they're protecting their personal identities because they don't want people to know who they are. It's a way to protect their image. But I feel, this is just me, if you're going to come out and have allegations against a person, your image should not be concealed. It should be unveiled to the public, because DeShaun Watson is a public figure, and if you're going to come out and allegedly say that somebody did something to you, it's only fair that you are put in the public square, in the public arena as well. I think that it's only right and it's only fair. So these women's images are being protected while DeShaun Watson is the only one that's being talked about. So number one, my first question is, why did it take so long to report the assault? Number two, I want you guys to consider that there's money being involved. These women are coming out because they're going to get paid. Civil lawsuits, you get paid. Okay? I don't know what they're settling for. I don't know the details of it, but any money is good money. That's the way the world works. People operate that way. So it lets me know what's the motive behind all these accusations that are being levied against DeShaun Watson. Number three, this happens a lot. You say, Literary Pharaoh, what do you mean by this happens a lot? What DeShaun Watson is allegedly being accused of happens a lot in sports. It's just that, just like when Kobe Bryant got caught in that hotel room in Colorado with that female, are you guys trying to tell me that Kobe Bryant is the only NBA player that's ever cheated on his wife or met a random girl and took her to a hotel room for sexual intercourse? Are you trying to tell me that's the only time that has happened? No. The way stories are spun spins our minds as well, because our minds get spun. We get caught into the narrative and we start to believe that this is like the first time it's ever happened. That's the norm. It's normal for young athletes in their 20s. Most of these men haven't had their frontal lobes fully developed. They're operating off their amygdala, off of hormones. They have money. They have women that are throwing themselves at them. They're going to have sexual intercourse with a lot of women. That's just the norm. Kobe Bryant got caught because he's a big time player. He was a superstar in the NBA, and his story was magnified. And plus, he's a married man. He carried an image of a person that wasn't like that. So I think that was the shock of it. So when you talk about DeShaun Watson calling for massages and doing sexually inappropriate things to women, now, with all the accusations that are being levied against him, I don't hear anything about rape. Okay? Rape is different. Rape is actually penetration, where he forces himself on a woman and penetrates her. That would be rape. Sexual assault is more of a broader term. Sexual assault doesn't include rape. Rape is just a more severe case of sexual assault. It's still considered sexual assault, but none of the sexual assaults that are being levied against DeShaun Watson are classified underneath the rape label. Okay, I want to make sure you guys get that clear. So he didn't force himself against a woman's, like non-consensual sex where he pinned somebody down and just penetrated the person. That's not what happened. So these massages that these athletes get, this happens a lot in the NFL, where NFL athletes are getting massages from women, and things happen. And sometimes it's consensual. Sexual intercourse is consensual around that. Sometimes these women give oral sex. I'm going to be explicit here and tell you guys, I mean, we're adults here. Not every woman who's a masseuse is a masseuse because they just love being a masseuse, because they have a passion for massaging. Now, some do. Some actually have a passion for massaging NFL athletes, $1 million athletes. They're not massaging your typical guy that goes to the gym and the average Joe off the street. They're not massaging those guys. They're massaging $1 million athletes. All right? These people are entrepreneurs in a sense where they charge by the hour. They charge a lot by the hour. And there's a lot of perks to that. You say, what perks? Well, aside from the amount of money that they gain from their services, if the women have a freaky side to them, they may want to do something else too. Do you know how many women I've talked to, when you say the word football player, their eyes go like this? Because number one, you know you're getting an athlete, a modern day gladiator. All right. Number two, you know you're going to get a man that's physically fit. And number three, the money. But the importance is not even in that order. Most women are looking for the money. Money is usually the number one thing that they're looking for, financial security, or a way to extract money from that man. Whether it's for the man to take them shopping, paying their bills, whatever it is. So these women get into a profession where they know there's perks in there. Just like when a person gets a job, it's much more than I'm getting a job because they pay well. What are the other benefits of that job? Do I get paid vacations? Do I get summers off? Do I get holidays off? Those are the things you start to ask yourself. Okay? Those are the questions that you have to start to think about. So when these women signed up to be massage therapists, and their job is to massage professional athletes, and these massages are done by appointment. These women they meet you at a specific place and they come. That's their job. Are you trying to tell me that what DeShaun Watson did is the rare act of what actually goes on? That's common. Now, I wasn't there when these things happened in terms of the sexual assault, because sexual assault indicates that a person was violated against their will. They're talking about DeShaun Watson getting naked, telling the women to do this, to do that. And my thing is this. I don't know the details, but I know the R word didn't happen. The R word that rhymes with grape didn't happen. So nobody was forced to do anything in terms of penetration. Now, they're saying other things happened. Women felt uncomfortable. So that's why these allegations are made more serious than they are, because DeShaun Watson is being used as the poster boy, the symbolic representation of what goes on normally in the NFL and in the NBA and in Major League Soccer. Many women get into that profession because they get close to the athletes. Let me give you guys an example of what happened to me when I was in high school. It didn't happen to me, but I witnessed this. When I was in high school and I played basketball, you know how you had the trainers. These were girls who had they would give us the water when we needed the water. They would make sure that our equipment was straight. They were the ones that were there in case somebody needed to go to a nurse. They would be the person to walk us to the nurse. I mean, things like that. They were trainers. They call them trainers in high school. You guys know who they are. If you played sports in high school, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. These were the girls on the sidelines in the football games that would give guys the water bottles. They would kind of take care of the equipment, things of that nature. And in basketball, they would do things similar. When I was in high school, this was my 11th grade year. I remember there was a female who was a trainer for the basketball team. And she would, when it was time to go, she would guys will put it like this. She was a trainer for much more than just a training. She would find a way, guys. She was giving guys oral sex on our basketball team. Not me, but she was. She wasn't being forced to. She was known as a person who was highly promiscuous. So a highly promiscuous female finds, okay, I could be a trainer. That's easy access to these athletes in a high school. These guys that are playing on varsity and they're the big talk of the school. I get to give these guys oral sex. I don't know her psychological mind state. I don't know why she was doing that. There's plenty of reasons why women do that. Low self-esteem. Maybe their self-worth is low. Maybe they just like doing it. I don't know. Whatever the reason is, that's not the point. The point is that certain women get into a profession to be close to athletes for a reason. It's much more than I have a passion just to massage men. And most of these women that massage professional athletes, they're not massaging same-sex people. Like, they're not massaging women, they're massaging men. The money is good, and sometimes things do happen in those massage rooms. Now, am I saying that DeShaun Watson is right for what he did? That's not what I'm saying. The point of this video is not to vindicate his actions. He should have known better. He should have acted better. He should have exercised better discretion. And he should have just used those massage appointments for strictly massages. If you want to go have sex with females, then do it in a different context. Why do you have the fetish to do it during massages with random women, to have any kind of sexual intercourse? Not sexual intercourse, but have anything sexually involved with these women in that regard? Why? So, it happens a lot. It's just unfortunate that DeShaun Watson is being used as the poster boy to lay these egregious acts upon him. But it happens. But I know that the R word that rhymes with grape didn't happen. But me saying that does not mean that I'm marginalizing what these women went through either, because I don't know what they went through. I know each individual woman has their own story and has their own narrative as to what happened. But I do know that the majority of the women like that. They are like that. When I say they're like that, it means that they are, okay, doing massages to be closer to those men. And they don't mind the sexual things happening. But now that something sexual happened, they're all coming out. I'm going to go out and say this. I'm going to say this with conviction. I do not believe that every allegation coming from all those women are true. Some women consented. Now they're saying they felt violated, that they got sexually assaulted. Some women were sexually assaulted. They felt uncomfortable. He made them feel uncomfortable. He probably made them touch them. He probably touched them inappropriately. Sexual assault. Yes. So let's say this. Let's say 12 women came out. Or let's say 100 women. I don't know the number. You can't be that gullible and jaded to think that every allegation that's being thrown against DeShaun Watson is true from these women. Now, are these women massage therapists? Yes, that's a fact. Is it true that DeShaun Watson did these things? Fact. But it's hard to read minds. Some of these women enjoyed it. I would go as far as to say that some of these women wanted it and they enjoyed it. It's just when they see their other counterparts, or not counterparts, their other colleagues who are in that same massage therapy profession, when they start to see that, hey, they're coming out with allegations, they can get paid. Oh, I want to get paid too. I'm going to come out and say I was sexually assaulted. You see the trend? Because it seemed like it was one woman back to back, one after another. I believe that maybe a handful of women, maybe less than a handful of women felt violated, felt like they were sexually assaulted. I believe that. I don't believe all of them felt that way. I believe when the other ones saw that there was money to be made from this, and then they get their image and their identification and who they are is concealed, oh hell, I'm gonna come out too. I'm protected. No one's gonna know who I am. I'm Jane Doe. I'm anonymous. I can get paid from this. In America, it pays to be a victim, because when you're a victim, my God, everything is given to you. So now all of a sudden there's another allegation that came out against DeShaun Watson. I'm sure 5 years from now there's going to be more coming out. It's never going to end. So to me, I think that this was a hit job. This was a direct hit job against DeShaun Watson. It's a hit job because, not to say that he didn't do those things, but the magnitude and the number of the women that are coming out against him, that's the hit job. Because the more allegations keep coming out, it magnifies the situation and makes it much bigger than it is. Now, 1 time is too much. 2 times is too much. 3 times is way too much. When you're getting into the double digits of this, then you have to start to ask yourself, like, what the hell's going on? Number one, like, just think about it. It's just human nature, right? I did something that I'm not proud of, right? Most women do this. They get into a sexual situation with a man, and let's say for some reason the man didn't oblige. He didn't give in to the sex, but they kind of played around. The woman's pissed off. The man leaves the room, but he ends up having sexual intercourse with somebody else. He doesn't do anything with you. You feel hurt. You feel disrespected because he didn't have sex with you. Then what you do is you say that you got raped that night, or you say he sexually assaulted you, try to come on to you. And in these stories, most women are believed and most men are labeled as the predators. But I'm a firm believer that if you're going to accuse people of things like the R word that rhymes with grape, if you're going to accuse people of that, and it's proven that you clearly had to have a motive, and it's clearly illustrated to people and the courts that you were just doing this to get back at somebody, then you should get the sentence that they would have gotten for the allegations that you were levying against them. That's just fair. That will put a stop to this. So the reason why I'm bringing up that example is that many women can cry sexual assault all the time, which is why I tell men to be very careful who you run with and what kind of women that you're with. I do know that most of those women, I'm going to say most, I'm not going to say some, the small fraction of the number of women that are coming out against DeShaun Watson, there's a small number of those women that I truly believe in my heart of hearts that do feel like they were sexually violated. It can go underneath the category of sexual assault, definitely. But the large majority of them, no. It happens a lot, folks. It happens a lot. Men getting massages from women. Some of these women are attractive. They know exactly what they're doing. Some of these women, this is how they pick up men. What do you mean? When I say pick up men, this is how they get the quote-unquote sugar daddy or the young athlete that's willing to give them the bag. They talking. Do you think there's just a massage and both people are just quiet, not talking? They talk. It's just like cheerleaders who cheerlead for the NFL teams. You think they're just cheerleading because they have the passion for cheerleading? No. They're cheerleading because they get closer to the athletes. Now, there are rules that says that the cheerleaders can't date the athletes, but that's not going to stop the cheerleader from dating the athlete once she stops cheerleading. They cheerlead to get in the inside. NBA cheerleaders, you think they're just out there because they just love to freaking cheer? They don't get paid that much, so it's not because they're getting paid. It's not a money thing, because most of these cheerleaders have second jobs. They have other jobs that they do. Some of them don't even have jobs. They just go to school and then they cheerlead. They do it for fun. It's more of like a hobby. But the hobby comes with perks. You're right there next to those athletes, man. And these girls are attractive. And some of these athletes will give in. They know the rules, but that's not going to stop the athlete from getting with you secretly, number one. Or number two, when you stop being a cheerleader, it doesn't stop them from getting at you after that. So, it happens. It happens. I I feel bad for the true victims. I do. I feel bad for the true victims in this DeShaun Watson thing, because I know there are a handful of women who really just love to do massages, and they did feel very, very uncomfortable, and they felt violated. They felt like they were sexually, assaulted by him. I know those women are out there, and my heart goes out to them, and I feel bad for what they had to go through. But I also feel like DeShaun Watson is also a victim of liars that are coming out because they feel like, oh, this story has gained some ground. Let me also say that he sexually assaulted me as well. I just find it very, 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 very hard to believe that it takes you that much time to come out. If you feel sexually assaulted, that's something that you immediately report. You say, oh, people don't want to say that. Why? Why wait? And then when you waited, it seemed like all the women came out of the woodworks at once. It seemed like they were all, it's like an orchestrated attempt to ruin DeShaun Watson at all costs. It's like a bunch of women were brought into a room and they said, okay, we're all going to come out against DeShaun today. No. I'm a big believer of never believing what you hear and believe half of what you see. I have my own mind, and I could be wrong. Maybe he sexually assaulted all these women. All these women felt, but that to me is a jaded way of thinking. It's an infantile approach to reasoning, to just believe that every woman felt like they got sexually assaulted. Do sexual things happen during massages? Yes, they do. You better believe they do. They do. They do. Don't let anyone tell you that it doesn't. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it happens more often than you think. You got to understand, these athletes are half naked. Some of them may just have their boxers on. No shirt, no pants. These guys are shredded, they're cut up, and they're having a massage therapist. If she's attractive, the guy may be turned on, she may be turned on. Things may happen consensually. And even if the woman didn't come there for that, if the man is aggressive enough, the woman may actually give in. The woman's intent may not be to go there to get anything sexual done. She may be going there, I just want to give my massage, get paid, and leave. She may get turned on too. Things happen. Things happen. You think DeShaun Watson is the only one doing that? But now I think that now that DeShaun Watson is being exposed for this, I think most guys are being careful with it. They're not out there flippant and as loose as DeShaun was. They're careful with it. So that's what I believe is happening. That's what I believe is happening. I think that there are victims everywhere in this situation. DeShaun Watson, to a degree, is a victim. He has some fetish for being massaged. I forgot that's his thing. And but most of these young athletes have a fetish. They sleep around with many women. But if DeShaun, only thing I have to say to him, like, if you just wanted to sleep around with women, you could have did it in a different way. Just do what normal athletes do. Go out, hit up girls on Instagram, go to the websites, meet. I mean, there are many different ways, DeShaun. Because these women can use their profession as a way to attack you. They're licensed massage therapists, so they're trying to do their job, and during their job, they're claiming and alleging that you sexually assaulted them. You could have found a better way to do that. You can't mix a person's profession with pleasure. You don't bring your pleasure to your business, and that's what you did. Like, you're getting a massage because you're an athlete, but the person that's massaging you is a licensed massage therapist, and then you're doing sexual stuff within that context. Why can't you just get their number and then say, hey, let's go out to eat, and then you can try to do sexual things with them in a hotel room when you guys are actually talking? Why during the massage thing? So, poor judgment on his part, and everything that's happening to him, he deserves, but the amount of pressure that he's under is, I believe it's sort of unfair, because it's making people believe that every allegation that's being put out against him is true, and I don't believe that it's all true. I think some of those women didn't care. They just started to care when they saw other massage therapists gaining ground on this. So they're like, okay, how can I get some leverage here? How can I gain from this? You know. So I'm gonna leave it there. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think that DeShaun Watson is guilty of all these things that these women are saying, or do you believe that some women were there and they were okay with it? They don't have a problem with what happened, and they just want to ride the train of what other women are doing? Or do you actually think that DeShaun Watson is guilty of every allegation that's been put out against him? Leave a comment, guys. Tell me what you think. All right, peace. Till next time. Bye.